Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. But before I go forward, have you seen my previous video regarding the Tampa Bay Lightning just from a couple hours ago? If not, make sure to check it out after this one and make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. As always, if you are new to the channel and you enjoy this kind of hockey content. But without further ado, let's talk about my favorite team. And if you've been following the channel, if you're subscribed, you know well, it is the New York Rangers. I love talking about the Rangers. Anytime I get a chance to talk about them, I will most likely do it. And we are here back today talking about the Rangers. And this time we're talking about their RFA situation, how they've addressed this offseason, and what they're going to do going forward, at least what we think they may do going forward regarding their key RFAs in Tony Deangelo and Ryan Strome. Yes, they have other RFAs as well in Alexander Georgiev and Brendan Lemieux, but they are sure to stay with the team. I don't think it'll be hard for the Rangers to re-sign them. But with Deangelo and Strome, it's a different story. And there's been a lot of rumors and speculation that, oh, Tony Deangelo is going to get dealt, or that Strome is going to get dealt over this past year, with really nothing significant besides the fact that they are expendable. And what we have found out, especially after the draft for the Rangers, which is very interesting, I know that Jeff Gordon was asked a question by Vince Mercogliano, one of the beat writers for the Rangers. Make sure to check him out on social media. He's great. He has great content and great articles. He came out and asked Jeff Gordon, was there a reason why Strome took so long to be qualified? Because the Rangers waited till last second to qualify him as an RFA because of they were trying to shop him possibly. And Jeff Gordon just basically flat out said, yes, they were exploring the opportunity to trade him because they know Strome is going to be commanding a significant raise, and rightfully so, given his 59-point season with the Rangers this past year, looking like a very solid 2C. But the Rangers aren't fully committed to that, so yes, they have been shopping him. And Jeff Gordon, the GM for the Rangers, is not known to give out that kind of information for the most part. So the fact that he was willing to answer that and basically say that, yeah, we have explored that possibility, leads me to believe that, yes, the Rangers are fully prepared and willing to give up the likes of Ryan Strome. Now, Strome, when it comes to his situation in the Rangers, let me just backtrack a little bit more. There are a lot of Rangers fans that are upset with how the Rangers have addressed this offseason thus far. Not doing anything drastic in free agency and signing guys that really are depth moves that really you're not happy about, with the likes of Jack Johnson. I understand there isn't much defending out there. I was upset too. And Anthony Potato on the left side defense. And also gain guys, whether it's Kevin Rooney or Colin Blackwell, who are going to be competing for a fourth line spot on the Rangers next year. I understand why you might be upset about that, especially regarding the defense on the left side. Why aren't they doing anything drastic? I'm also aware of the fact that the Rangers were never fully going to go in free agency this year. If they make moves, significant moves of this roster, I can almost assure you it'll be via trade and not free agency. This is not the Glenn Sather era as a GM for the New York Rangers, and I don't know why Rangers fans are stuck in that mentality, because that's not the case. If they make moves in free agency, it'll start next offseason, if anything, not this year. I highly doubt they'll do anything significant in free agency for the remainder of this offseason. And yes, I don't love the signing of Jack Johnson among others, but it is what it is at the end of the day. There's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing we can do about it. It's not going to drastically change the team, hopefully, as long as Johnson doesn't get consistent top 4 minutes. I'm hoping that he's a 7th defenseman, but what do I know? I'm just a Rangers fan like you. We will find out momentarily. But when it comes to the Rangers and their situation with Ryan Strome and Tony Deangelo, Ryan Strome seems a lot more expendable at this point in time than Tony. They both could very well be dealt this offseason, but I'm not going to bank on it, and here's why. Let's start with Ryan Strome, the 27-year-old centerman, 6'1", 193 pounds, originally drafted 5th overall in the first round of the 2011 draft by the New York Islanders. Strome had a very strong start to his career, and his sophomore season had over 50 points, which was his best season to date up till this past year. But then the consistency really started to fall down with him in the Islanders. He was dealt in the trade with Jordan Eberle, I believe, and then he didn't do much of anything with the Oilers, was not living up to the hype as a top 5 overall draft pick back in 2011, and then he was dealt just a couple years ago by the Rangers in the deal with Ryan Spooner, 1-for-1. We all know how that went. Ryan Spooner isn't in the NHL anymore, and Ryan Strome had a 59-point season playing along the likes of Artemi Panarin and Jesper Fast, and Jesper Fast isn't with the team anymore. I know it's upsetting. Fast is gone. He went to the Carolina Hurricanes. Henrik Lundqvist, the Rangers bought out, which still crushes me. He's with the Washington Capitals. And Mark Stahl got traded to the Detroit Red Wings, and that was in part to free up cap space for maybe the likes of Tony Deangelo. That's what we thought, at least, right? But getting on to Strome some more, he had 59 points, including 18 goals and 41 assists in 70 games this past year, mainly playing as the 2C for the Rangers. The year prior, in his debut season with the Rangers, after being dealt just around 18 games in, he had 33 points in 63 games. And before he was dealt, he only had 2 points in his first 18 games of the season with the Edmonton Oilers. So things have really taken a turn for the better for Strome in his career, and he has been coveted by the Rangers, no doubt. But he will be looking at a pay raise probably upwards of 5+ mil, even with this flat cap currently going on in the NHL. And I don't think the Rangers want to commit to him long term, especially as a 2C. Because when you look at the Rangers' depth as it is at center, it isn't great. You have Mika Zibanejad, amazing, already a top 10 center in the NHL. Then you have Ryan Strome as of now. Then you have Phil Hedl, who I'm a huge fan of Phil Hedl. I've been saying this in other videos. I would love to see the Rangers let Hedl cook and give him the opportunity to start out next season in that top 6 as a second line centerman. But I understand why you don't just throw out these opportunities for players without them, say, earning it. So I understand that aspect too. But I think next season will be huge for the Rangers. Maybe he will be the future 2C for them, but I don't think it will be yet. But let's get on to the Rangers more. Then they, of course, have Brett Howden. Then you have Rooney, Blackwell, and then you have their guys that they are on ELCs competing for a spot coming out of college. And Barron, Kodorenko, and Richards will all be looking for a spot as well. So we'll see what happens there. But nonetheless, Ryan Strome, he has had at least 2 seasons in the AHL now with 50+ points, which is impressive. And one of them being with the Rangers, the other one is sophomore year in the league with the Islanders. And he, in 133 games played with the Rangers so far in his career, he has 92 points, going 36 goals and 56 assists. So very strong numbers there for Stromer. And again, it really comes down to, will the Rangers want to commit to him long term? And all the indication, and from Jeff Gordon himself, should suggest that no, they are not planning to commit to him long term. But now let's get to Tony Deangelo's side of things. What is going to happen with Tony, right? Tony, the 24-year-old coveted right-hand defenseman, had an amazing year for the Rangers, had 53 points, a career high, and really over this past year and a half has been tremendous in progressing his game. Regardless about how you feel about him personally, because I know how people are when it comes to him and Strome. I don't want to hear that. That's not what we do on this channel, so don't even bother. But when it comes to Tony, he has been a coveted defenseman for the Rangers, and his defensive game has been getting better. It's not fantastic by any means. His giveaway takeaway ratio is brutal, and yes, I know he's an offensive defenseman, so that's bound to happen. But nonetheless, he was really solid for the Rangers last year, had some great moments for them, including a hat trick against the New Jersey Devils. And Tony currently has a cap hit of $925K, and he will very well be looking for a raise upwards of 5 mil, which is a big cap hit to take on for the Rangers, as they have depth on that defense on their right side as it is, with the likes of Jacob Trouba, Adam Fox, and Niels Lundqvist on the way in a year or two. The Rangers' most coveted prospect currently, right-hand defenseman coming out of Sweden. But the 24-year-old defenseman is 5'11", 180 pounds. He was originally drafted in the first round back in 2014 by the Tampa Bay Lightning, was then traded shortly after to the Arizona Coyotes, and then was part of that deal with the Rangers with Derek Stepan, Antti Raanta, and that 7th overall pick that became Elias Anderson, who's now an LA King. We all know this. But when it comes to Tony, he had 53 points this past year in 68 games, including 15 goals and 38 assists. And the year prior, he had 30 points in 61 games for the Rangers. And like Strome has 92 points so far as a Ranger in his career, and his best friend Tony has 91 points in 159 games. Crazy similar between these two, between their friendship, them being in the same situation basically, and their point production as a Ranger so far, including 19 goals and 72 assists. So Tony has been a very productive, offensively minded defenseman for the Rangers, and yes, he's expendable, but from the Rangers getting rid of Mark Stahl and freeing up more cap space, they have around 14 mil that they're working with. It says on paper 18. I'm not sure if I mentioned that in this video, but they really have 4 mil subtracted from the bonus cushion penalty that they're going to be dealing with. So they really have around 14 mil, and that's not including the likes of Alexander Georgiev and Mario Lemieux being signed, because they aren't signed yet by the Rangers. So take these things into account. But Deangelo and Strome, I find it hard pressed to say that the Rangers will be able to keep both of them this offseason. And I don't think they really ever plan to commit to both this offseason unless they can get them below market value, obviously, and on, say, a bridge deal or a 1-year deal for Strome, especially. I think for the Rangers' case, when it comes to Deangelo, from all the reports that I've seen, I think the Rangers are really going to try to keep Tony. Unless they really hit a stalemate in arbitration, then I would suggest that the Rangers will try to deal Tony. But what the rumors that we've seen, I know the Vegas Golden Knights shown interest and the Anaheim Ducks shown interest in Tony Deangelo this offseason, and both of them address that right side of defense since then. Vegas Golden Knights won big this year's free agency, gained the most coveted player, arguably, in the former captain from the Blues and Alexander Pietrangelo, and the Anaheim Ducks got Kevin Shattenkirk. So yes, they might be looking for another right-hand defenseman, but that was basically what Tony was supposed to be for either one of those teams. So he isn't going to either of those teams. I know that teams would still like to be interested in the likes of Tony, but I think the Rangers are going to try to commit to him on a 2 or 3 year deal and go from there, because they want to try to play Tony on the left side. From all the reports I've been seeing from JD and Gordon, their statements over these past 48 hours. So if that is the case, then Tony very well could be with the team longer, even with them adding the depth moves of Johnson and Boteto. And yes, I know that they have Keandre Miller and Tarmo Runinen coming up, and I think Tarmo has a solid chance of making the roster for the Rangers on the left side starting next year. So be on the lookout for him. I think he will very well make the team over Keandre, unless Keandre just blows him away in camp. But that is yet to be seen. Hayek, I think, will stay in the AHL for the most part. But the Rangers, they have that willingness to move Tony to the left side, and the fact that he is more versatile in that way, if I'm sure he would be willing to do that if, say, he gets some money he's looking for, then I can expect Tony to stay for at least a couple more years. But Ryan Strome, I do think Ryan Strome is going to be dealt. I think it's just a matter of when and where at this point. The fact that they have been so willing and noted that, yes, we have looked at shopping him right after the draft, really, when that came out by Gordon, that really does lead me to believe that the Rangers are all in on trading Strome at the right price, because I don't think they want to commit to him unless they get him on, say, a bridge deal or a 1 year deal way below market value. And I don't think Strome's going to do that, because take these players into account as well. Yes, it's great to be a team player and say take a hometown discount to stay with a team and keep that core group together. But Strome is trying to get what he believes is deserving, and I don't blame him. Who knows if he's going to be able to, say, get a more significant deal again. So it would not surprise me if he is trying to go for a more longer-term deal, knowing that he has finally found a home in New York. This is his third team as a young player in the NHL. Same can be said with Deangelo. So if Deangelo wants to commit to New York, these are things to consider as well. But Strome, I think I very well could be dealt, but it's a matter of what would the Rangers replace him with? Because I don't think the Rangers are really banking on Hedl to be that guy as a 2C next year. Hedl's still so young. He's only in his early 20s. They don't need to rush him still. And I think he would cook on that third line, whether he's with Capo Caco and Lafreniere or others, or Gauthier. Great things are going to happen in that Rangers offense next year. I'll talk about that in another video. But I think Strome, if he's dealt, you'd assume that the Rangers would want to make sure that they bring in a replacement that is either just as good or better at a cheaper market value price. Now, who could that be? That is the biggest what if. I've connected the Rangers to Phillip Danault. I think Danault would be the perfect fit for the Rangers and what they're looking for, and really a second-line centerman who wants to play in the top six. That's why he's had controversy with the Habs, with Jesper Kotkaniemi and Nick Suzuki being ahead of him in the lap, center depth-wise now, even with them getting rid of Domi. I think Danault would like a change of scenery should the opportunity present itself to be in a top six. And this is just my opinion, though. I could be wrong, obviously. And Danault, he's a very sound two-way centerman. We all know this. He was nominated a year ago. He was 7th in Selke voting. I'm not sure what he was this past season, however, but he's a great defensively minded centerman. Two-way game is fantastic. Would fill that void that Jesper Fast left on the penalty kill for sure. And he would do wonders for the Rangers and really help balance out that line in that top six along Panarin and whoever else is on the wing per se. So I think Danault is a guy to consider, as well as some other centermen. I really don't know at this time, though. But I can say I do think if there are two of these two RFAs that are going to be dealt, I really can bank on saying that Ryan Strome will be dealt if he does not sign a 1 or maybe bridge deal with the Rangers. I don't see how they're going to commit to him. They really don't have as much money as, say, Cap Friendly will tell you. For instance, given this flat cap and all the bonus issues and the key guys that they're going to have to re-sign within the coming years. They have a lot of great upcoming talent. So just be on the lookout for that, guys. I'm not sure what is going to happen exactly for the Rangers, but given all the reporting that I've seen, and I'm not going to hook on rumors per se, because a lot of them have really died down since then. But I do think Ryan Strome will be dealt, and I do think Tony Deangelo will stay unless a trade presents itself that the Rangers simply feel that they can't refuse, that it's just a perfect deal for them at this point in time. So they're both expendable, but if I'm picking one or the other, it's definitely Ryan Strome, no doubt, at this point in time. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below, guys. What do you think is going to happen with the Rangers for the remainder of this offseason? Do you think that they will trade both Strome and Deangelo? Do you think they'll be able to re-sign both, say, on shorter term deals that they would be willing to stay? Do you think that they will, say, make a bigger trade, not even regarding these players, but it could change the direction of this team? Or do you think that they'll do some things at free agency? Like I said, I don't think that's happening. I think they will stay with those lower level moves. If anything, it will be trades that bring in bigger fish per se. But that's just my personal belief. But I love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. As always, guys, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you ended up enjoying this kind of hockey content. Thank you all so much. It means a lot. I can't begin to thank you all how much I appreciate all the love and feedback I've been getting. We're so close to 2K subscribers. Help us get there, guys. We are so close. I know we will because you all are amazing. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, Rangers fans, fellow Ranger fans, I should say, it means a lot. What do you think will happen with Tony and Strome this offseason? Do you think they stay and resign, or do you think one or both are dealt, and where? I would love to hear your proposed trades. As always, guys, thank you all so much. It means a lot, and I'll be back very, very soon.